we bring to you Heisman Trophy winner, College Football Hall of Famer, Pro Football Hall of Famer, lover of all things Metroplex. It is Tim Brown. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you guys?
Man, we're doing fantastic, except for the Cowboys and stuff. But
and the Mavericks.
Yeah, and the Mavericks. But the Stars won at least yesterday.
There you go.
How the heck have you been? We haven't seen you in a minute.
Man, I'm here, brother. You know.
You are. Indeed, you are.
I am here, but I'm doing good. Things are well.
I know it's become a bigger deal over especially like the last 5 to 7 years. Was there ever much of a concern or discussion of the trade deadline when you were playing in the NFL? Like I said, I know it's gotten to be more of a big deal, but was there ever rumblings in the locker room about, I heard this?
Yeah, well, up until, 94, I was on the trade block every year. There was something. Me and Mr. Davis just didn't see eye to eye,
right?
About certain things. So
seems like a lot of people might have fallen into that category.
I was way down the list, no doubt about that. But so yeah, one of the first things I did when I got a chance to control my contract was I put in a no trade clause.
Okay.
So if I got traded, it was only because I wanted to get traded. So and I thought that was important because that it's not a good feeling when your name is floating around and you don't know if you're going to be in Oakland or in LA or, you're going to be in Philadelphia the next day,
Did you ever have to think about the logistics of not just like playing, but like, oh man, do I have to sell my house? And,
it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Even when I eventually left Oakland and went to Tampa for my last season, getting all that done, you don't want to dump all that in your wife's lap. So now you got to bring in other people to do it. And, it was a nightmare, no doubt about it.
So Cowboys just got 2 new players on the defensive side of the ball. How much of an adjustment is that when a new guy comes in? Because now he's got to get to know the guys. They all kind of know each other, though. You all kind of know each other a little bit, but now you got to learn a couple things, find out where the bathrooms are, obviously.
And that's really the toughest part of the whole deal. The locker room part would be the easiest part. Hey, it's another brother coming in trying to get it done. Let's get it done, And so from that standpoint, I think it'll be all good. Learning where to go eat at night. Don't want to be in a hotel. Those type things. He's going to need somebody really quickly to help him out because you don't want this guy, who is supposed to come here and wreak havoc. You don't want him thinking about those kind of things when he's on the football field.
Yeah, that was always like my favorite Bill Parcells. While he was here, one of the things that he said, I think it was Bobby Carpenter, came in and he was like, let's let him figure out what the bathroom is first. And he was like, then we'll see about getting him on the field. Like,
yes, that's that part later. Yes.
Yeah, sometimes those rookies take a second.
Did you, and this is not really related necessarily to what we were just talking about, but I have to know because I think about this probably too much. Did you ever watch that 30 for 30 with Al Davis where they creepily recreated him and his conversations?
Yeah, that was a little creepy.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I just need everybody I meet that might have seen it. I just need to agree with me that was weird and like why did they do that? Have you been keeping tabs on the Cowboys this year? And even if not, I think we all agree that the defense needed.
Living in Dallas, man, you can't help but to hear about the Cowboys. I tell people, look, at 2 teams I keep up with now. Obviously, the Raiders and the Cowboys, because I'm in Dallas. Every place I go, hey, man, what do you think about that game last night? So
is that better? Is them saying, what did you think about that game better than the weird, vague question of, how about the Cowboys, huh? Like, what are you supposed to say to that? Like, what specifically do you want to know?
I don't think I've heard that in like 30 years. That's when the Cowboys were winning. It's like, oh, how about those Cowboys? Now people are like, oh, my God, what are they doing? So, Look, this team, man, is it's tough. When you take somebody like Michael Parsons out of the locker room, it's more than what happens on the field. Now you're talking about, because we don't know, but they know. They know what was taken out of the locker room. And I in my experience, and you guys have obviously seen championship teams around here, and I was in locker rooms that should have been championship teams, but because of this or that, it didn't happen, So I just know that, this is bigger than what they lost on the field. And you can see it. All of a sudden, this went from one of the best defenses to one of the worst defenses in the league. And that's not because of personnel. That's just because of the mojo, man. There's no feeling. There's nothing there for these guys to latch on to and feel about.
I think you're dead on with it when it comes to, like, the level of play, the guys that have been through those things before, and they have a certain expectation when they come to work every day, and they know what to expect. Listening to the Cowboys offensive line, they did a little special on that Tyron Smith, Zach Martin group, and they were talking about how hard they worked. You listen to Troy Aikman, and those guys talk about, we worked hard. The talent level may have been the same in some areas, but the work we put in every day, we wanted championships. That was the deal.
Yeah,
and that's a different mentality that you have to come to work with every day.
It is, man, and you need leadership in that category. You need people to come out and do that, and so people can see this is how it's supposed to get done. And if you don't have that per se, then you're going to go out and play football. You're not going to go out and play great football. You're just going to go out and play football.
We were talking a minute ago about Quinyon Mitchell for Philadelphia, the cornerback up there, who's just having another exceptional season. And I was kind of going through my mind. Now I have a wide receiver to ask this question to. Guys like Revis, Nnamdi Asomugha, they had these years that they were unstoppable. Like they were some of the best cornerbacks you see. What is it that they do so well in those seasons where they are shutting people down, shutting receivers down? What is it that they do so well to be that kind of corner?
Well, look, in my eyes, there was never a shutdown corner, right? That's just the way I thought.
I imagine you need that mentality.
But look, I mean, the fact of the matter is, you have a guy like Dion that you're going up against. You have a guy like Dale Carter back in the day. We can go on and on with names, and even to the guys that you mentioned,
the Darrell Greens,
all those guys. I mean, Darrell Green was a beast.
It was amazing.
When I was a kid, I thought he was the greatest defensive football player there was.
I mean, because you were never open with Darrell Green, right? We're going to run by him for sure. But even trying to, my whole deal was, when I put my foot in the ground, nobody was good enough to, stay with me.
Yeah.
But this guy, man, picking balls off. It's like, oh, bro, wait a minute now. we came here playing that game when you picking off my routes and all that stuff. But look, I mean, the one thing you have to be able to do, you have to be able to shut down one particular thing about that receiver, right? So you're saying to the receiver, you're not going outside no matter what you do. So whatever you want to do inside, I'm going to play you to, but you're not coming outside, or I'm going to play you inside. And when these guys are able to do that, it makes it very difficult. Now you're in the quarterback's head because we got this play call, but he's shutting them out on the outside or inside, and it becomes problematic. So now the quarterback is automatically going, I'm not looking over here. I'm going to the other side of the field. And, you do that 2 or 3, 4 times. You do it for a season. All of a sudden, you're a shutdown corner.
Yeah, and then you got that, okay, now the defensive coordinator knows, I'm going to funnel him inside. The safety can step up a little bit. Maybe he can get in. That communication, though, that's what we've seen as part of a frustration as Cowboys fans, is the communication in the secondary doesn't look like it's there.
No. I mean, look, when you have young guys playing like they have playing right now, it's really difficult, man. I mean, because you go over all this stuff, you do all this practicing, but you get on the field, it's like, your head just blow up, man. And, you have to be able to settle yourself down, man, and play this game. And you can just tell right now they're running the plays, they're running the defense. They're not playing the game. You know what I mean? I mean, you can call defenses all day long, but sometimes you got to adjust.
Yeah.
And there's no adjustments going on right now.
Does it ever feel like, because people use the poker analogy, if you sit down at the table and you don't essentially know who the chump is, it's you.
Yeah.
Would you line up and you would see a defensive back, especially a young one, and you're like, that guy. Put me with that guy.
Look,
I'll torch him.
I mean, there's been some, I was talking about this early in the season with somebody. I forget who it was. We were talking about, they would ask me the best game I ever had, or yardage-wise, and it was versus the Jets in, I think, 1995. And the guy who they had on me is the guy who is the defensive coordinator for the Broncos, man, Vance Joseph, yeah. Oh. And they had just converted him from like being a receiver or something. So, and they were down to like so they're like, hey, Vance, you got Tim Brown today, right?
Thanks a lot.
And I had like 250 at halftime, and the Raiders were like, hey, do you want to go break the record? I was like, look, man, I'm not, I wish I would have went for 400 because I would still have that record probably. But yeah, I mean, there are times where you see people out there, you go, you give people their respect because they made it that far. But at the same time, you know that this should be a game that you should dominate.
Was that the most yards, even more than any game at Woodrow Wilson? I know. Maybe you guys didn't have the best team in the world there.
Yeah, probably.
But was
not.
that even better than in high school?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't have a quarterback. I had to play quarterback when it was time to throw the ball. So
Throw it to himself.
Yes, exactly.
That was definitely. Well, I had an all-purpose game at Notre Dame. The reason how the game Notre Dame came to recruit Dante Jones, who ended up going to Oklahoma and playing 10 years at middle linebacker for the Chicago Bears. That game I had like 500 yards all-purpose yardage. So kick return, punt return, long catch, long run. I even picked one off on defense that I almost took back to the house. So
holy cow!
But that was probably that was a game that put me on the map because of that game, Notre Dame offered me a scholarship.
Wow, that's freaking amazing.
One of our favorite people is Darren Woodson.
Oh my God!
And he's just a great dude. Great. We got to watch him obviously as a player and just got to see how much of an impact, how he kind of changed the position. And we don't understand.
I don't either, brother. I don't get it. It makes no sense.
It really doesn't,
because that defense was nothing without him.
Right.
The one thing that people, and I'm going through this with Everson Walls right now too with the Hall of Fame. The one thing that people don't get is that if you line up on somebody, you're going, oh my God,
yes,
this is going to be a problem. And one of the things that made the Cowboys defense so good back in those days, they didn't substitute a lot on defense. Mm-mm. So when we went to 3 receivers, I'm thinking I'm about to get some third corner. No. They brought Woodson down on my butt, right? So now I got to deal with this guy who is bigger, stronger.
It's like a linebacker.
So now my routes are going here, and and I have never understood why he wasn't the first ballot guy. And I just hope they get it done now and not, put him on this senior list and all that stuff.
Do you think it's
ridiculous.
less prestigious then? Or does it feel like less prestigious if you had to get in on the senior list?
No,
you're in.
Okay.
You're in.
Once you're in, brother, once you get that gold jacket, that ring, it means a lot.
And you just mentioned Everson Walls as well. We've talked to Darren Woodson a lot more than Everson Walls. But with Everson Walls, somebody who won a Super Bowl with the Giants. He was 3-time first-team All-Pro, led the league in interceptions 3 different times. That's another one that I don't.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Look, I told the guy, I was talking to a Hall of Fame guy. I said, look, man, Everson was probably 4'7", speed-wise, probably 4'7" guy. How many times do you remember him getting beat deep?
Yeah, not really.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
It's possible because his technique was so incredible that it was almost impossible to ever get on top of him, and to be able to get deep on him. So I just think, man, that I don't know what these people are looking at times. Look, when I retired, I was second in catches, third in yards, third in touchdowns, and it took 5 years for me to get in, right? So, so I know there's other things that they're looking at, but if they're looking at the championships, he has that. If they're looking at, touchdowns and all, he has everything that you think a guy at that position should have.
When you were talking about the scheme, you can play the scheme, but you got to play the game.
Yeah,
that he and George Teague both told me something that just changed my perception on that. And he said every once in a while we would be playing and I would see something.
Yeah, and
I would tell George, I'm going to go make a play. I'm going to vacate where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
And he said, but I trusted that George was going to be in that spot too. Yeah. And that's what always makes me think of that's the difference between just showing up and being more than prepared for a game.
No doubt about
that's
it.
What that's what I respect.
It's a game that is ruled by the play calling and the defense call and all that stuff. But every once in a while, the great ones are able to step outside that box, and nobody knows they're stepping outside that box and make that play. That's what this thing is all about. You
just better make that play. Right? Yeah,
exactly. And when to do it. It's not like I'm doing this every other play. You know what I mean? It's like, that special moment.
I know it's a different sport, but I think about Steph Curry with that all the time. He takes these shots, and I was like, well, he made it, so it's a good shot. Otherwise, his coach would be like, the hell are you doing? Like, what is that?
Seen Steve Kerr do that? Like, don't.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. Well, at this particular point, they probably just let him do whatever he wants to do. And It knows he's won enough championships to know when to do that and when not to do it, So
That is very, very fair.
Joined here by Tim Brown, right here on the K&C Masterpiece on 105.3 The Fan. I saw this list this morning. I was kind of hoping to get your thoughts on this because, first off, how much of an impact does a great coach have on a team?
Oh, it's, look, you have to have a coach who knows how to, let me just say this. Coach Holtz back in the day was a coach who could come to me and say, hey, Tim, hey, this is what I need you to do, man. I think that we're going to, put you in this position. And he would go to you and like, God dang it, you son of a, you need to, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And he, but he was able to do that. And it registered with me.
Right.
And it would register with you because that's what you needed. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's what you need as a coach, man. You can't talk to me the way you talk to, especially in the NFL, because now you got guys in their early 20s and their late 30s or mid 30s. So it's we're different points in our life. So I got a wife and kids back home, bro. Don't be talking to me,
Right.
Don't be talking to me like I'm some
not a kid,
14-year-old kid.
Yeah.
That's not going to fly.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to do that in order to. Fred Belitnicov, he used to come in our meeting room like, Timmy, I'm not talking to you. You cock. The rest of it, he would just go on, you know what I mean? But you have to be able to control your team by individually at the same time speaking to everybody. And that's not something that everybody can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, like Jimmy would always say you treat everybody the same differently. And
that's exactly right.
And it took a while for me to figure that out, but then I see how he treated Michael versus how he treated Troy and all that. So I learned, this was the list for semifinalists for head coaches in the Hall of Fame came out. And I wanted to see where these guys stand with you. Schottenheimer, not Brian, Marty.
Yeah, the one I hate, for real. But Marty was a great coach, man. Yeah, thankfully, Marcus Allen went there and converted me on him because I hated that man for sure. But because he hated the Raiders like no other team. But he was a great coach. No doubt.
Did you respect that level of sports hatred though too?
Well,
probably more so now.
I did. Yeah. It sort of went over to cheating, but we won't.
I gotcha. Yeah.
George Seifert.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Coach won a couple championships. He has to be in there.
Yeah.
Do you think he gets overlooked because everyone just thinks he?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Mike Shanahan.
Yeah. Look, he drafted me in the league.
Yeah.
He was a head coach at the Raiders at the time. So, but what he did at Denver was incredible, man. So, yeah.
Yeah, he evolved his coaching style too. It looked like as he got towards the end with John Elway there too. Dan Reeves.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can't believe Dan's not in right
now.
It's crazy.
We've got a lot of issues with the Hall of Fame committee, as you can tell.
Mike Holmgren.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubt about that.
Tom Coughlin.
I'm a waiver on that just a little bit.
It feels like no.
All right. Okay, hold on. Kevin's always hated this line, and it was a Tom Coughlin line, is if you are 5 minutes late, or 5 minutes, what is it, 5 minutes late?
If you're on time,
if you're on time, you're 5 minutes late.
Tell me when you want me there. I promise I'll be there.
Yeah, no. That they play. Art Shell was like that too. We just have an 8 o'clock meeting on Fridays, and he would be there at like 7:50, and you come in at 7:55. He's like, "Why are you late?" It's like, you said clock said 7:55, bro. What you talking about?
I always felt bad for Art Shell that he didn't get like another fair second shot at coaching or a more timely shot.
Well, I think people realized that, or believed anyway, that Al was a big part of the reason why he got that job and had the success that he had. And all of a sudden, what ended up happening with him, he ended up almost having issues with the players.
Yeah.
And when you get that reputation of not being you're a player and you're not a player's coach, that can be a problem.
That's the end of it.
There were 3 others. Belichick, I think we all can kind of agree with that one, even if he cheated a little bit too. And then there was, I don't know enough. I'm sorry, I'm not this much of a historian. Buddy Parker and Chuck Knox. I don't have
Chuck Knox. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know Buddy Parker.
Yeah, so Buddy Parker looks like before my time.
Okay.
probably before your time as well. So, so that's why I'm just going to look. But I was just kind of curious on some of these coaches.
But only one of those guys are going to get in. They're not
it's going to be tough.
Multiple coaches at one time,
which is a shame about.
It's crazy.
Yeah, whenever we go through, like we had, was it Rondé Barber a few years ago at the Super Bowl, and it was before they announced the Hall of Fame class, and we knew if he got in, that Darren Woodson wasn't going to get in. We talked to him that day. He was freaking giddy, and we're like, he already knows he got in, and so nothing against him, but we were just sad. We were like, that means Woodson's not going to get in. I don't know if you ever care about things like this, but this is amazing from the 469. I used to destroy people using Tim Brown on Sega Genesis Madden days. That go route, and it was over.
Absolutely.
Tecmo Bowl.
Absolutely.
Me and Bo Jackson on Tecmo Bowl.
Oh, I freaking love it.
Unstoppable.
And then, sorry, one more, because I think this is kind of what you were getting at with Schottenheimer. I like you now, Mr. Brown, but man, I hated when the Broncos played you. This is a diehard Broncos fan, and I appreciate that level of,
no
maybe
doubt.
we can be friends.
No doubt about it. You know, I signed with the Broncos. You know, I was trying to get away from the Raiders. I signed a contract. You know, I wanted to go there. Me and John had a plan, man. He was giving me a house and all that stuff, and giving me one of his dealerships. And
wow.
It was. I mean, we just thought there was no way the Raiders were going to match that contract, and strangely enough, they did. So.
Were you disappointed then?
I was because again, me and Mr. Davis, we were not seeing eye to eye. I mean, we went to play would have been my last game. We played Buffalo in a division playoff game. I have 2 catches for 108 yards or whatever, right? Took 185 yards for a touchdown. Found out after the game that the game plan was not to get the ball to Tim Brown, you know. And, you know, you try to win a playoff game.
That's not the right way to do it.
That's not. It
Do
just
we know why? That's
because my contract was up.
Oh,
you know? And so what just so happened that the week before the Denver game, I get into a fight with Braxton, and one of my guys who's not even suited up comes off the bench and is fighting with me. Only the Raiders, right?
Yeah, yes.
And, so I look up, I was like, Trap, what are you doing? So we get him off the field. Well, because we won the game, the NFL barred him from being on the sideline for the next game.
Wow.
So on the way up to the suite, he hears Al Davis saying, we're going to win this game, and Tim Brown is not going to catch a pass, right? And that was a game plan. So when you hear that kind of stuff, you just know it's time to separate yourself. Right?
Yeah.
So once I got called back, or once they matched the contract, I had a legal pad of like 21 things on it. It took 6 hours, me and Mr. Davis, one-on-one.
Wow.
And I felt a lot better. A lot of stuff I didn't agree with, but at least I knew, right? And so from that, man, I just said, hey, put your head down, go get it done.
Did you ever consider Dallas?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I tried a couple. Look, I'm going to expose the Cowboys right now. So
I'm in. Let's go.
Don't forget, we got Jerry coming up on Friday.
The first time, and this is a Michael Irvin did, 93, make the Pro Bowl. And I'm over there and I'm thinking, hey, look, you know, let's go to Dallas, right? Let's play second fiddle to Michael. I don't care about that. I just want to be home.
Yeah.
So the bright idea I had was, let's tell Michael what the plan is, right? So I go to Michael and I say, hey, Mike, hey, man, look, contract's up, man. I want to come home to Dallas, man. I'll play second fiddle. Oh, no, you ain't coming to Dallas. Oh, no, man. Oh. I was like, Mike, come on, bro, come on. I ain't know, man. No, Timmy. So let me fast forward on that real quick.
Wow.
That was crazy. So when I get to the Hall of Fame, he greets me and said, we wouldn't have both gotten here if you would have came over. So, I'm not going to disagree with him on that. But so then.
But we would have won in 94 with you then.
Yes. No doubt.
That's the deal. Yeah.
Dion couldn't cover everything.
Yeah.
You know, and he might not have pass interfered on Michael at the end of that game.
So in 97, my contract was up again, and I had the option to get out of my contract with the Raiders, and there was only one team I wanted to play for. That was the Cowboys. So Steven, Jerry, all these guys were in on it, right? So Al calls them and says, look, the only way he's going to, avoid out his contract is if you guys say that you're going to get him. So just please tell him that you're not going to get him. So, and this is after we had all these conversations with them about, hey, this is going to happen. And yeah, we're interested in all this stuff. And then all of a sudden we get a call like, well, Tim Brown's too old, and we don't want an old receiver, and that's when they went and got Galloway.
Yeah.
So if you remember, Galloway tore his knee up 2 years in a row, whatever.
Yeah.
So my marketing agent every week was sending the Cowboys, Tim Brown 6'2", 200, Galloway 0 for 0. Literally, they had the NFL to call my marketing agent saying, "Will you please have this guy to stop? He's killing us."
I love that. That's hilarious.
Man. So anyway,
well, this team currently
cow.
has what I think is two exceptional receivers.
Yeah,
in
no doubt.
in Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. They're both individually different, very unique styles of receiver. We'll get text sometimes that people saying that CeeDee Lamb's not a top 5 receiver in the NFL. And I look
or even
at,
a number 1 wide receiver.
or they're like, he's not a number 1 at all. And I know he plays in a lot of different areas on the field. You can move him outside, inside. You can do whatever. When you watch him play, and there's a lot of different styles for receivers too. Mm-hmm. When you watch him play, do you go, that's a number 1 receiver?
Yeah. Right, look, I mean, I think first of all, that guy has to have the mentality of being a number 1 receiver, and that he definitely has. Now, does he run every route perfectly? Does he catch every pass? No, but I can tell you there are a whole bunch of guys who are not. They don't even want to be in that position. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't even put me in a position that I could drop a ball or I could run the route the wrong way. You know what I mean? So I think from that standpoint, it's a lot more to it than just catching a whole bunch of passes. Yeah, I know we're used to Michael Irvin. We used to, all these other great ones that we've had around here. But he is who he is. And I think look, I mean, sometimes he get a little, he drops some balls, but that's just being over anxious and all that kind of stuff. But I definitely see him as a number 1 receiver, no doubt about that. And, people, I hate when people start talking like that, man. It's like,
it frustrates me too, because I mean, I think very highly of what he does on the field physically. Also, what he puts his body through. What you guys put your body through is insane. Going across the middle at times. I mean, even what you got to deal with getting hit by linebackers.
Well, look, and y'all just keyed in on a conversation that I think is really fascinating as well. I know there's a more, maybe at times, direct pipeline to try to get your hate out to particular people now. When you were playing, were you aware? Did you listen to what outside sources? Because I'm sure there were people who were like, Tim Brown's not that good anyway. Back then, did you hear that or did you care?
I didn't care for sure.
Okay.
I did not care at all. The situation I was in, it's like I tell, we joke around at the Hall of Fame, everybody, oh man, all that. And I just say to these guys, would any one of y'all have switched with me? I would have switched with Michael. I would have switched with Chris Carter. I would have switched with Andre Reed. I would have switched with all those guys. Would anybody who came out there and played with 17 quarterbacks with the Raiders like I did? Would anybody have done that?
Most of them probably say no, right?
Most of them say, "Oh, well, man, Tim, you're not in it. You're not in it. Listen." And so, but no, man. Look, there's certain. I mean, one of the things that you have to learn early on, and one of the things that I was taught my rookie year. The first time I touched the ball in the NFL, I returned a punt, a kick, 97 yards for a touchdown. Right. So, wow. Right. So all that week, I'm every article. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in the locker room. And Howie Long came and snatched it out of my hand and said, "Kid, can't be reading your own press clippings." He said, because this week they talking good about you, but next week, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It won't be.
Yeah.
And yes, sir.
Yeah.
He's an intimidating fella.
I never read another article until after I retired.
Really?
Never. And that was my rookie year. So I went 16 more years. I never read another article because I got it, because I was feeling like, oh my God, reading this article, I'm the man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the man. But what would have happened is, 2 weeks later when I dropped the pads,
your
or
confidence.
You know what I mean? It's if you're relying on this, then it's going to be a problem.
I always, as a kid growing up watching, as in my teenage years watching, I was just like, well, if John Madden says that he's one of the great players in the game, then must be one of the great players in the game. I always thought he did a really good job of lining up. These guys have these qualities that I like.
He had real football players on that list.
And we don't seem to have that anymore, where you're just like, that's the one I have to listen to.
Yeah.
And I miss that a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I mean, for a while there, it was more popular for us to make that list than it was to make the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Did you ever get to talk to John Madden as an aside about what a pain Al Davis could be at times? Because I bet he would have that conversation with you.
Yeah, I think they had sort of mended all their issues by then,
Okay,
so I didn't want to bring up any bad memories for that brother.
But you're right. The all Madden team was like, that was where it's at.
Yeah,
Or
I relied on that.
Yeah,
I was very reliant on that.
Absolutely, I agree with you on that.
I did want to ask your thoughts on Pickens too before we let you go. He's high pointing a ball, catching deep balls the way he does. It's pretty unique.
Yeah.
Not every single receiver can do it. Larry Fitzgerald was amazing at it.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson has a pretty exceptional style. What he does is it's kind of a niche thing for receivers.
It is. Well, look, I mean, it ain't for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I mean, excuse my language, it ain't for everybody as much, So I just think he does a great job, man, and he should be such a comfort for Dak, because Dak knows he doesn't have to be perfect with this guy, right?
Yeah.
Just get the ball over there by him and let him do the rest, I can tell, and with CeeDee being out for a couple, 2 or 3, 4 games, whatever it was, they really got a connection, and it's still going with CeeDee being back. So I mean, that should be enough to get this team through it. But they just have so many little issues that they're dealing with, and we'll see. Leadership can change that, but everybody else has to be on board with the leadership.
Drew Pearson gave me that line of, a lot of guys have a catch radius. I had a zip code, and I was like, you put certain receivers in that category, and y'all have to have that confidence. Y'all have to have that belief in yourself.
No doubt.
And I love these messages that continue to come through from the 817. Mr. Brown, I loved your game on the field. However, I also love seeing you praise God when you're singing with the other NFL players. That's incredible. And then from the 469, my last name is Brown, and Tim Brown was the first jersey I ever owned, and he is the reason I am a Raiders fan today.
Part
That's
of the nation,
cool.
Baby. No doubt. I mean, look, the Raider Nation is they're part of the reason why I stayed in Oakland, because, I mean, there was a point with the Raiders where we were a bad football team. Like in '96, I think we went 4-12 or 6-10 or whatever.
It was a tough season.
And tough season. And we were winning games away from home field. We came home, we lose, and there was a game where we were playing so bad that they were booing us, right?
Oh.
And that just, I mean, and I had a radio show that was pretty popular for Raider Nation at that time. And that Tuesday, I just went off, man. I just went off on the nation, man. Like, you guys call yourself real fans. You're not real fans. You're going to come to a game and boo your own team. What do you think? We're trying to drop passes. We're trying to miss tackles. Nobody trying to do that. Just having a bad, we need you guys for support, right? And so everybody's like, Tim, you may have gone too hard, right? so these guys are, these some hood brothers we talking about here. So we got to be careful. So anyway, but the very next game, man, of course, we're playing bad again. And people start to boo, and you literally see people in the stands going, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
And they're looking right at you, probably.
I said to myself, I was like, dang, they're actually listening. They're actually paying attention to what, And I just thought that was remarkable that, and my time there, I'd never heard a boo again from a Raider fan, So I just think that was remarkable. And I just said, look, why would I want to leave this fan base to go to any? Now, I would have came home to Dallas. I would have just purely just to be home. But there was no reason for me. And the only reason I went to Tampa was because I was thinking that was going to be my last year, but I thought it was going to be my year to wave my towel on the sideline with the Raiders. And they had different plans. So I had to go do something different. So.
Well, several years later, we tried to get back for you because when there was a Cowboys-Raiders joint practice, I did a wireless, and I asked every single Raiders fan how long they'd been on probation. The second person I asked, he goes, all right, you got me, about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's real, bro. I mean, look, these brothers come up with tattoos and all this stuff. You know what I mean? That ain't, you don't just get that walking down the street, bro. So no, it's a different group, man. And I probably had 20, 21, 22 guys to fly to Dallas, have me to write their name, have me write my name on their arm or their leg, and they go get it tattooed.
Wow.
Wow. Now, I've always had people around me when those people come because
Sure. You never know.
And I'll tell you guys one more story. this was early in my career. I mean, this is like 92, 93. And, I'm just a guy. I'm trying to come back from this major knee injury I had in 89 or whatever. And I'm at an autograph session in the mountains in California. I'll never forget, because the mountains I was outside looking at the mountains. And this kid was like, he was obviously not a kid, but he was a small guy. And he was just going back and forth. And I told security, let's just keep an eye on him, right? Because something's not right, right? And by the time he gets to me, he's in full tears, right? And he was like, Tim, bro, I love you, man. I was like, bro, it's cool. Just calm down. He said, no, I love you. This brother pulls up his shirt, and he has a full body tattoo of me.
Wow.
And it's me catching a pass, like wrapping around his body. I said, bro, in 30 years that my arm's going to be down here. He had a full body tattoo of me, man.
That is crazy.
And I had never, and that was the only time I've ever seen that. And I just thought that was crazy. But it was scary, too,
awesome
at the same time. So.
I think that's a great description. That's crazy
Awesome.
and impressive.
Scary.
Yeah.
It's just a little scary. Let's be truthful here. So.
Man, thank you so much for the time.
The last show? I'm here for the last show?
You're here for the last
Yeah.
one.
We're shutting it down.
Yeah.
What better way to do it than with the Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys, man. This was
Absolutely.
great.
Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Brown coming
Thank you
up.
very much.